Today I want to talk to you about an idea that I have about relationships. Many of you guys know that I have a 10-stage self-love recovery program that specifically explains what you have to do in order to reach self-love abundance. Self-love abundance is the endpoint of self-love deficit disorder treatment. A long time ago, I renamed codependency to self-love deficit disorder. And not only did I come up with a name that aptly fits the problem, but I gave it a solution, because I don't believe people should be carrying a negative diagnosis when the problem no longer exists. Case in point, depression. If you're on medicine for depression, and when you take medicine, you have no symptoms, why should you carry the diagnosis? Well, people do. On self-love deficit disorder, if the problem with your attraction to narcissists is that you have deeply embedded pathological loneliness, an addiction to narcissists who take away that loneliness, that comes from a deeper sense of core shame, that comes from an unconscious source of trauma, what I call attachment trauma, then what happens if you solve that? And you solve the trauma, the core shame, the loneliness, the addiction breaks, and you get to this part of self-love abundance. You're not an SLD anymore. You're not self-love deficient. So that's where this whole idea of self-love abundance comes from. So in that discovery, which took probably about 6-7 years, I developed this 10-stage program. And I'm putting together a full-length 6-hour video for that, so you guys keep an eye out for that, and I'll let you know when it's going to be rolled out. I have the stages laid out in chronological order in the way that a person who wants to solve self-love deficit disorder or their self-love deficiency and finally become self-love abundant permanently, irrevocably. It is the cure, which is why I call it the Codependency Cure. So in this video, I want to talk about stage 9. Stage 9 is taking self-love abundance, this new part of your personality. There's no shame. There's no addiction to narcissists. There's no feeling that you have to be with someone to make you feel better. But taking this newfound self-love abundance and going into the dating world. So at stage 9, you've experienced self-love abundance for quite a while now. And the beauty of that is when you have changed inside out and that self-love deficiency has morphed and transitioned or metamorphosized, like a caterpillar to a butterfly, into something bigger, better, and beautiful, something you were always meant to be, into this self-loving person, you are now ready to date. And that is why in my program, I'm very specific about no dating, no sex, and no dating. And I know very well that 75% of my clients don't listen. And sometimes they have to find out their own self, because the human magnet syndrome says if you are an SLD, a codependent, excuse the bumps because we are traveling, if you're an SLD, codependent, you are going to always be attracted vis-a-vis chemistry to a narcissist. And you can take that to the bank. The self-love deficient person, no matter how much they promise themselves and how much they wish to change, almost always finds themselves in the arms of a narcissist. As my therapist once told me, different person, same face, different person. But in stage 9, everything shifts, because with self-love abundance, you are not looking for a person to make you feel good about yourself. You are not looking for a person to fulfill this empty spot, to fulfill a dream of togetherness and happiness, because you've worked your ass off in therapy, come to a place where you understand that you are just good enough just by yourself. And that is a magical feeling. That is probably the very best moment of working with my clients, is when I see that they have finally loved themselves, and not intellectually, but emotionally. More often than not, this is accompanied by some really good trauma work where we've been able to resolve and integrate their childhood attachment trauma. That's where I came up with my relationship math idea. And I won't go into detail, but it is in my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, The Codependent Narcissist Trap, the new one that was published in 2018, where I explain that SLDs and narcissists are, quote, half people. In other words, because of their core shame, their loneliness, and their unresolved trauma, they walk around in their world feeling like they're empty holes needing to be filled, empty buckets with tons of holes needing to be filled. And once together, they feel whole. In other words, in the relationship, they can escape their pain. So a half and a half equals one, and one is always a half of a full relationship. And then I explain through the explanation of the Codependency Cure that two self-love abundant people, one full person who is individuated and is not suffering from core shame and pathological loneliness, they will meet another person who is individuated, another full person, vis-a-vis the human magnet syndrome. Because a lot of people don't understand, and if they read the book, they would, that the human magnet syndrome accounts for healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. It is the attraction of opposite relationship orientations. I have a theory called the relationship compatibility theory, and there's a whole continuum, and it's one of my bigger ideas, and that'll be for another video, or you can just read it in the book. But the point is, the human magnet syndrome works out for healthy people, that once you reach self-love abundance, that you become attracted to and attracted with a healthy person. It's inevitable. All of a sudden, healthy people start to go, wow, I'd like to get to know him or her. Or if you're in a room or in a coffee shop and someone is smiling and is attractive in whatever you consider attractive, you're going to go, wow, he is like really sexy, hot, or she looks interesting or intelligent. But you're going to pick up on a vibe of self-love abundance. Because, and my clients know this, if you are self-love abundant and someone has SLDD, or if someone is a narcissist, you're going to have this uncomfortable feeling, this, what I call what I sometimes call my narcometer, this intuitive feeling that someone is not healthy, and you get tense and uncomfortable. So what I'm trying to say is that in stage 9, when someone who's now self-love abundant is ready to date and has my blessing, even though, like I said, most people are going to do it the way they want to do it, all of a sudden they are learning for the very first time what it's like to be in the dating world with people who are attracted to them because of what they are in respect to their mental health, their emotional health, their sense of security, their self-esteem. Not only do people recognize them for their beauty and their strength, but they start to recognize other people because of their beauty and strength. And that's the beauty of the human magnet syndrome in stage 9. As I've explained several times in my older videos and of course my book, people are attracted to their opposite. The caretaker, the narcissist. The person who is on the caretaking side but is self-love abundant is always going to be attracted to someone who is on the self side but healthy. The thesis of this idea that I'm trying to communicate is that once you get to stage 9 in this 10-stage theory, everything changes. You start to get into a world in which dating is no longer dangerous because you realize you cannot get hurt when you are healed and healthy and resilient inside. Yes, you might fall in love with someone and they might, for whatever reason, decide that you're not the right person, or you might decide they're not the right person, and you'll be sad and you'll go through grief, but they can't destroy the gains you've made because you're no longer self-love deficient. And what I like as a psychotherapist is I like working with these people because in a sense, no matter how old they are, they're like in their early 20s. If you're 50 or 60 or even 70 and you finally get to stage 9, You're experimenting for the first time in the dating world. But in stage 9 of self-love abundance, it is fun because you don't need anyone to make you feel good. You don't need anyone to make you feel happy about your life because you've established that. What happens is you're looking for someone to help you experience the next level of relational health because you love yourself. You're self-love abundant. And you are resilient. So if you break up, it ends, you move to the next one. But eventually, when you finally fall in love, whether it's long-term or medium-term or for that matter short-term, it's a beautiful feeling that you cannot imagine. And I say this to my SLD clients or anyone watching this video, it will be something that will blow your mind. Absolutely. Because you don't have any life experience to know what it's like to be self-love abundant, to be attracted to another self-love abundant person who, they're still opposite attraction. Trust me, this whole love explosion that the SLDs and narcissists feel, that is nothing more than like a cocktail of morphine, alcohol, and methamphetamines. And I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek and as a joke, but I'm serious. Anyone who is a recovering SLD, who's a self-love abundant now, will tell you that the beginning of the relationships, it's almost drug-induced. It's euphoric. It's like you're walking on a cloud and you're experiencing intense, perfect love, which is nothing more than 1/2 + 1/2 = 1. You've been delivered to a form of temporary happiness because of your misery that has been inculcated and buried so deep inside you that you are now, for this short moment with this narcissist, feeling great. But as an SLA, self-love abundant with another SLA, and you experience this feeling, which is, by the way, called limerence. Dorothy Tenoff wrote a book in 1979 that explained what we all know, this, feeling of falling in love and feeling great. And she calls it limerence. This limerence, when you're healthy, is incredible. We still get that. It doesn't go away. We don't have to sacrifice this in self-love abundance, but we experience it not at the detriment to our emotional health. So in closing, I'd like people to consider working on all of the issues that I described, and the challenges, and the obstacles, and the roadblocks, and everything that is very, very difficult in self-love recovery, which is explained in my 10-stage program, which I will explain more about in the bottom of this video description, is to say that there's so much hope ahead, but you have to figure out how to solve the reasons that has made you self-love deficient, and then become self-love abundant, and then get to the point where you are ready to date. Because when you fall in love with yourself, then the sky's the limit to fall in love with someone else. So with that, thank you for this experiment, because I've never done this before, and I'm probably never going to do it again. What the heck? Why not shake it up a little bit and give you a video that has a little bit of different background? Hopefully the shakiness and the sound doesn't bother you, and maybe the information in this video might inspire you. Take care and be well.